Good afternoon, grasshoppers. We are on to chapter 16, the Oompa Loompas. Oompa Loompas, everyone said at once. Oompa Loompas? Imported directly from Loompaland, said Mr. Wonka proudly. There is no such place, said Mrs. Salt. Excuse me, my dear lady, but Mr. Wonka, cried Mrs. Salt, I'm a teacher of geography. Then you'll know all about it, said Mr. Wonka. And oh, what a terrible country it is! Nothing but thick jungles infested by the most dangerous beasts in the world, hornswogglers and snozwangers, and those terribly wicked wangdoodles. A wangdoodle would eat 10 Oompa Loompas for breakfast and come galloping back for a second helping. When I went out there, I found the little Oompa Loompas living in the trees. They had to live in the trees to escape from the wangdoodles and the hornswogglers and the snogwangers. They were living on green caterpillars, and the caterpillars tasted revolting. And the Oompa Loompas spent every moment of their days climbing through the treetops, looking for other things to mash up with the caterpillars to make them taste better. Red beetles, for instance, and eucalyptus leaves, and the bark of the bongbong tree, all of them beastly, but not quite so beastly as the caterpillars. Poor little Oompa Loompas! The one food that they longed for more than any other was the cacao bean. That's what chocolate's made of. But they couldn't get it. On Oompa Loompa was lucky if he found 3 or 4 cacao beans a year. But oh, how they craved them. That means they wanted them. They used to dream about cacao beans all night long and talk about them all day. You had only to mention the word cacao to an Oompa Loompa and he would start dribbling at the mouth. The cacao bean, Mr. Wonka continued, which grows on the cacao tree, happens to be the thing which all chocolate is made from. You cannot make chocolate without the cacao bean. The cacao bean is chocolate. I myself use billions of cacao beans every week to fill this factory. And so, my dear children, as soon as I discovered that the Oompa Loompas were crazy about this particular food, I climbed up to their treehouse village, poked my head through the door of the treehouse belonging to the leader of the tribe. The poor little fellow, looking thin and starved, was sitting up there trying to eat a bowl full of mashed up green caterpillars without being sick. If you had to eat a bowl of mashed up caterpillars, do you think you might be sick? I would. Look here, I said, speaking not in English, of course, but in Oompa Loompish. I can't speak Oompa Loompish, can you? Look here, if you and all your people will come back to my country and live in my factory, you can have all the cacao beans you want. I've got mountains of them in my storehouses. You can have cacao beans for every meal. You can gorge yourselves silly on them. I'll even pay your wages in cacao beans if you wish. You really mean it? Asked the Oompa Loompa leader, leaping from his chair. Well, of course, I mean, I said, and you can have chocolate as well. Chocolate tastes even better than cacao beans because it's got milk and sugar added. The little man gave a great whoop of joy and threw his bowl of mashed caterpillars right out of the treehouse window. I think it might have landed on someone's head. Hope not. It's a deal, he cried. Come on, let's go. So I shipped them all over here, every man, woman, and child in the Oompa Loompa tribe. It was easy. I smuggled them over in large packing cases with holes in them, and they all got here safely. They are wonderful workers. They speak English now. They love dancing and music. They are always making up songs. I expect you will hear a good deal of singing today from time to time. I must warn you, though, that they are rather mischievous. They like jokes, and they still wear the same kind of clothes they wore in the jungle. They insist upon that. The men, as you can see for yourselves across the river, wear only deer skins. That's the skin of what animal, do you think? A deer? The women wear leaves and the children wear nothing at all. The women use fresh leaves every day. Daddy! Shouted Veruca Salt, the girl who wanted everything. Daddy! I want an Oompa Loompa. I want you to get me an Oompa Loompa. I want an Oompa Loompa straight away. I want to take it home with me. Go on, Daddy, get me an Oompa Loompa. Now, my pet, her father said to her. We mustn't interrupt Mr. Wonka. But I want an Oompa Loompa, screamed Veruca. All right, Veruca, all right, but I can't get it for you this second. Please be patient. I'll see you have one before the day is out. She's a bit of a brat, isn't she? Augustus, shouted Mrs. Gloop. Augustus, sweetheart, I don't think you had better do that. Augustus Gloop, as you might have guessed, had quietly sneaked down to the edge of the river, and he was now kneeling on the riverbank, scooping up hot melted chocolate into his mouth as fast as he could. Cheeky Augustus Gloop. Grasshoppers, I hope you have a lovely bank holiday tomorrow and a lovely weekend. Well done for all your hard work this week. It's been excellent. And we will see you back here on Monday. Bye.